Great. All right. So again, welcome to our AFT Massachusetts Fall Town Hall. We are doing this new series every season of just bringing folks together from across the Commonwealth to share updates, learn together, organize together, and make plans together. So if we go to the next slide, we'll see today's agenda. Always want to start with celebrating joy and all of the positive things our members and our locals are doing. So we're going to start there, and then we're going to move into local updates, whether they're electoral or legislative. We're also going to share some resources from AFT Mass and talk more about what we can do to continue to build a better future for our students and our union workers and our communities. And then we'll be joined by our special guest tonight, AFT President Randi Weingarten. We'll have some time for Q&A and conversation, and then we will end there. But first off, again, we want to celebrate the wonderful things our union members are doing and our locals, including winning some fantastic contracts. So I'm going to pass it over to Brant Duncan, our Secretary Treasurer, to walk us through some of the recent wins from the last time we met.
Excellent. Thank you, Jessica. Good evening, everyone. Brant Duncan, Lynn Teachers Union member and Secretary Treasurer. You know, some of the things that we're noticing with our locals is some trends with bargaining, and we're really excited to highlight some of the achievements of our locals, and some of the cornerstones of our campaigns are strong contracts, strong public schools, and strong public libraries. So we've noticed that expanded bargaining has been an effective practice for a lot of our locals, and that can mean a number of different things, right? So it's not a one-size-fit-all approach. Expanded bargaining could mean teachers bargaining with paras and bargaining with clerks. It could mean engaging with parents and connecting on the issues important to our schools. It could mean engaging with our members early and doing a deep dive and a democratic approach to organizing and contracts. We've noticed that when our members are engaged and active in a number of different ways, whether it's at silent reps or active in the community, we see a lot of great things happening for our folks. So we want to move on and highlight a few specific examples of what has been won. And the important thing to note here is we're giving a few highlights, a few snippets of what was achieved, but it's really important to know that we're here as a resource here at AFT Massachusetts to help you and our locals in any way possible. We've got tremendous field reps who are experts at negotiations. We've got a wonderful, wonderful organizing team that can help with engagement and campaigns. And we have a wonderful legal team that really are experts and can be a valuable resource. So when all of these things come together and we have a strong plan, we're really able to achieve wonderful things. So the Billerica Federation of Teachers, President Dave Adams, really led a strong campaign in Billerica. And this is notable because we saw a lot of wins in our gateway cities due to the influx of the Student Opportunity Act. And this is one of our districts that's not a gateway city, and really some strong things to highlight. And one of the trends you'll also see is a focus on living wages for paraprofessionals, our PSRPs, the cornerstones of our schools and our classrooms. And one of the things that the Billerica team did well is focused on the paras and how we're able to lift their wages up, moving closer towards a livable wage. So you can see the paras here. We combined steps 1, 2, and 3 into a new step and eliminating 1 and 2 minimum wages, and a lot of highlights to be really thrilled about. So congratulations, Dave Adams, and congratulations to the Billerica Federation of Teachers. You might know, but you might not know, we represent the Commonwealth Virtual School, and these are educators and support staff that meet the needs of kids virtually. It's completely a virtual school based in Greenfield, Massachusetts, and we're really pleased with that success here. So over 16% increase on average over 3 years. The North Attleboro office professionals, as part of the North Attleboro Federation of Teachers, with President Nicole Reminder, really some strong wins, and we're really pleased to highlight those two locals for you all. Now, down on the South Coast, we have two standalone para-locals that are the bedrock, the anchor of their communities. I was with a few of them last night down in Dartmouth area, and the Fall River Federation of Paraprofessionals with President Michelle Willis and the New Bedford Paraprofessionals, and we're really excited to highlight a lot of their wins. Now, one of the challenges of being a standalone local is sometimes you work with the teachers union, sometimes you don't. But it's important to note what these locals were able to achieve are really some significant gains, really a reflection of their work and value to their schools. So we're thrilled to highlight that the Fall River Paras saw an average of 23% over the contract. And the New Bedford Paras, really some strong wins here, 13.5% to 30% increase. Great steps in the right direction, moving closer towards a living wage. We know many of our paras work multiple jobs, work before school, work after school, and really contribute to our kids' success in such an important way. So congratulations to the Fall River and the New Bedford Paras. Moving up to the North Shore, the Peabody Federation of Teachers and the North Shore Education Consortium Employee Federation. That's a mouthful, I get you. But so the Peabody Fed really has a strong local and really a rich history in terms of community work, and really did a nice job. And this work spanned two presidencies, and that was a little bit of a challenge, but we worked through that. A lot of the success in Peabody was due to the collective action of our members, but also the relationships that our union leaders have with elected officials. An important thing that is helpful to underscore is the relationship that our members foster and develop with elected leaders, particularly school committee members in this case, that enable them to see strong results for their schools and for their students. So you can see that fully paid parental leave was a big part of the achievements in Peabody, and we're really pleased that was something we were able to accomplish. Now, Peabody is a federation. We also represent the paraprofessionals and the public librarians in this case, but they chose in Peabody to negotiate the contract separately. So that was a unique thing. Now, the North Shore Education Consortium is, as many of you might know, where a lot of the kids that have significant special needs or significant needs in general go to school in the North Shore. It's the outsourcing of our special ed kids. They really do a tremendous service for all of our communities up on the North Shore. One of the challenges at the consortium is there's a number of different facilities. So to talk to members over those different facilities is a challenge, but we really did a deep dive at the consortium and worked with an organizer, an AFT organizer, to develop strong lists of members, to develop a work site leader that can act as part of the contract team. And that really paid dividends. It was, a really strong approach, a deep organizing, democratic approach to negotiations, um, and you can see a number of things that we were able to highlight. And the parental leave certainly was one of the things that was most notable here. Congratulations to both those locals. Now, the Norfolk Aggie is one of our locals out on the 495 belt in Walpole. It is an agricultural school with a standalone governance structure. It's a local of about 60 to 70 teachers. But what they were beginning to notice and hear from were some of the other workers on campus about the importance of belonging to a union and about the importance of belonging to the AFT. What was really wonderful here is that Norfolk was able to negotiate their first support staff contract, which was tremendous, and notable 30 new members to the AFT, which we're really thrilled about. So, really congratulations to the Norfolk Aggie and the folks down there in terms of the efforts to bring in new members and also to move the pay structure forward for the teachers. So those are a few highlights. When I mentioned collective action, that's just leveraging the power of our membership, right? We know that we're stronger together. You'll hear Randi Weingarten later today talk about, we're able to accomplish collectively, which we're not able to accomplish often alone. And, collective action, relationships, bold, ambitious bargaining campaigns, getting members engaged early has really been the cornerstone of the local contracts that we just highlighted. But we know that we've got a lot of work to do. And we know that it's important to lift up and support all of our members. So we're really proud of the work that's happening now in these locals, among others. But the Pittsfield Federation of School Employees out in the western part of the state, the North Attleboro Federation of Teachers, we did highlight the clerks, but the teachers are really doing a tremendous job bringing collective action and bringing the members out to school committee meetings, going public for the first time in a new way. Uh, they are in mediation, which is a process, but they feel that connecting with parents about the issues important to schools is really going to be the important aspect to work concurrently with the mediation. Now we've got three charter school campaigns happening in Boston and Cambridge, and we're really close in many ways. But we're really excited to bring these new members into the fold once these contracts are secured and ratified and cards signed. We know of the struggles down on the UMass Dartmouth campus. We're really blessed to represent the faculty, the professors, and the maintainers there. But the faculty is really engaged in a strong contract campaign. And then our Berkeley faculty here in Boston that represent the professors. So these are just a few of the highlights. We're really happy to support all of these folks with field reps, organizing, strategic communications, legal support, and really leveraging the strong leadership of our locals and the power of our members. So we're with you. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Brant. And we have two actually additional updates before we launch into our next section. So, one, Norfolk Aggie actually is also hosting our fall conference, which is going to be on Saturday, November 22nd. So definitely save the date. And if you've never been to an agricultural school, that's your opportunity. And we'll actually even have a tour of all the animals and things at the end of our fall conference on November 22nd. But we also have breaking news from Lawrence. So Lawrence is in a tough situation because they were put into receivership, and while we're continuing to fight to get Lawrence out of receivership, they just were able to reach a tentative agreement. And we're really proud of the Lawrence Teachers Union and their ability to continue fighting even under extenuating circumstances. Not only, again, were they put under receivership, but they also recently lost their elected school committee as well. And so, the work that we do today, both in Lawrence and all of our locals, is connected to the political work that we have to do too. So, for example, our ability to negotiate contracts and whether or not we have the funding we need to win strong contracts is very much tied to our political work. So, if we could go to the next slide, please. To give our political updates, I wanted to introduce you all to Stefania Galvis. She goes by Tefa, and she is our new state affiliate political organizer. So she is supporting locals throughout the state as they are engaging in electoral and political work, ranging from everything from overrides to electing school committee members or city council members to our ballot initiatives. So again, welcome to Tefa.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's really exciting. This is my first town hall as part of the team, and it's been such an amazing time these last 3 months getting to know different people in the locals and getting to know the work that the AFT has been doing. And it's so incredible. And I feel so happy to be part of this incredible team. And part of the work that I've been doing in the last 3 months has been bringing together a lot of ideas and needs and thoughts of the membership on some concrete actions with the help of the organizing team and the legislative team and everyone in AFT. And so we have our first ever Partners for Public Education pledge, which is a pledge we're using across the state to start conversations with people that are either running for office or are elected officials and figure out how we can build our relationship with them based on a pledge where we have agreed upon what we're fighting for. So if you would like to talk about this, how we strategize to use it in your city, build your COPE committee, I am so excited and looking forward to hearing from you in my email, as you can see it in the PowerPoint. Also, we have an override campaign in Amesbury. We know that a lot of towns in the last couple of years have had to pass override campaigns. And so we are looking for all the hands, all the support we can get to come canvas, to come pamphlet, like pass out pamphlets and help us out. Also, like maybe you don't live there, but you know someone that lives there, or you know someone that can help us get the word out there. So also, the calls to action are always not just for us ourselves, but also for the people around us that might be getting impacted by this. So we really appreciate you coming in and helping us out in Amesbury, who also has used the Partners for Public Education pledge and has endorsed candidates for the school board, and that is really exciting. And we want to see more and more on that this coming year. And the last thing that I would say today is that there are a lot of ballot questions in the state of Massachusetts in the process of gathering signatures for the upcoming election. And so please help us out. We're really helping out the rent control ballot measure, particularly because they are part of a lot of the coalitions that we represent you all in. And so there will be a link in the chat where you can sign up to help us collect different places signatures so that we can get this in the ballot and we can make sure that there's rent control or across Massachusetts, an issue that affects all of our teachers and all of the communities around our teachers. So thank you so much, and I'll pass it over to, I don't remember, whomever's next.
I am back. I'm
Yeah.
back. So thanks so much, Tefa. And in addition to helping to collect signatures for some of the ballot questions, and our board is going to be voting on which ballot questions we're going to be supporting, we're also keeping an eye on the ones that actually would be very harmful. So, for example, there is a ballot question that might repeal the gun laws that were passed. There are two ballot questions we're keeping a close eye on that would actually cut revenue for the state. We're talking about $7 billion. And after winning the fair share millionaires tax, the same folks who are upset about that are now trying to pass a different initiative that would cut taxes and under 2 ballot questions. And that would be really destructive to our public schools and public institutions because it would, again, result in $7 billion of lost state revenue, and that would accumulate. So we'll continue to pay attention to that and make sure that all of our members are aware of what ballot questions we have to fight for and which ones we need to fight against. And there are 44 that were filed, but not all of them will make it to the ballot. And again, we'll keep you posted. But if you are interested in what we're doing at the State House, you'll find that we've been very, very, very active. We are there every single week. These are some of our state legislative priorities. So one that we work on pretty much every day is on Retirement Plus, and we're determined to get this over the finish line. We were proud, our Boston Teachers Union was proud to be one of the original organizations that helped to file it. And then we have since been working with Leader Peisch and Chair Michaelwitz and the House leadership to get it through the House, which is great. Now it is in the Senate Ways and Means, and I do see the little typo there for Senate, but we'll fix that. And working really hard right now to try to get it through the Senate. And the latest update is that we have gotten a meeting with one of the folks, the attorneys who are working on this bill specifically in the Senate Ways and Means to see if we can answer any other further questions I have. We really want to get this done by the end of this calendar year. And what we're asking our members to do is, again, contact your senators, ask them to make this a priority, and also to let people know like why we need it done now and it can't wait. If we're talking about 3 to 5 years difference, and so every year that this delays, there are more teachers who are not able to take advantage of R plus, and not even take advantage of it, get the fix they deserve. So that's one reason we need to get this done. Another reason is we know also the way that our school budgets work, that educators who are going to retire, they need to make that decision very early in the next school year or the next calendar year. And then also it's a win for our municipal governments that are really, having a lot of challenges with funding right now. And so that educators be able to retire, that would actually create savings for the districts as well. And so there's lots of reasons why we believe that R plus needs to be passed by the end of the calendar year, and we're continuing to work on that every single day. And it's promising that the conversations that we're having, but we need to keep the pressure on and continue to ask our senators to prioritize this and ask the leadership to prioritize it as well in the Senate. There are a number of other priority bills. For example, just this week, we had testified on the para living wage and the teacher living wage, and those are the other ones on modernizing school construction, et cetera. And then we can go to the next slide. So while those are some of our priority pieces of legislation, what we want you to know that we've actually already testified and or sent written testimony on over 45 bills in this legislative session. So for those who aren't familiar with the state legislative session, it runs every 2 years. And so we just ended one last year, and then we're starting a new 2-year cycle this year. Bills have been filed, and now we're at the point where we are advocating for bills to be heard and then hopefully voted out of committees. And so that's where we are in the process right now. And this is, just a compilation of all the bills that we've already testified and written in support of or against, depending on what it is, in this session already. So we've been very busy at the State House, and appreciate Mike Canavan and Sarah Wilfred and also all of the members and leaders who've come and actually testified with us as well. And if you're interested in testifying on a bill, please do reach out. It is always great when we have rank and file members and local leaders part of our team when we are at the State House. This was our very first AFT Mass Lobby Day. So again, we are trying to build our muscle in the State House and really make sure that the legislature is working for all of our members and for our communities and families. And so we had our very first on June 25th, our very first AFT Mass Lobby Day, and we had over 150 members and allies from across the state join us. And we then broke into our different groups, and everybody was given, a little workshop on how to talk to your legislator and advocate. And then we all spread out in the State House and had conversations with either the staff or the legislators themselves. So we are going to continue this tradition. That was our first one. It was wildly successful, and we plan to continue to do it to make sure again that our priority legislation is elevated and advocated for with all of our joint collective voice as much as possible. All right. So that is what we've got so far on our big wins, celebrating our successes, a bit about our electoral and political work. And, I'll be honest, I get this question oftentimes, like, why do we do so much political work or electoral work? Well, we do it because it impacts our ability to win strong contracts, to be able to have funding for our schools. We're looking at potential staffing cuts, and that's literally members losing their jobs if we don't have the funding we need for our institutions, whether it be higher ed or pre-K through 12 or librarians, et cetera. And so the politics absolutely impact our ability to do our job in our union and to advocate for our members. And again, making sure that all of our members have basic living needs met. And cost of living is something we're hearing about a lot. And so what can we do about it? Well, we have a lot of resources to share with you. So I'm going to pass it over to Jeremy Schenk next, who's going to share more of what resources we have and some actions that we can take.
Hi, everybody. Excited to talk to you a little bit about sort of how we can sort of support, train, provide the skills to do the political work, to do the organizing work. You heard about all the amazing contract wins. A lot of that happens through you all leading different pieces of the work, and we can help you do that by these different trainings. Also, how we engage in this complicated, sometimes frightening political moment that we're in as well. So if you go to the next slide, I can kind of like talk a little bit about sort of the different categories. So increasingly, we're starting to do more and more training with community partners, also have our own curriculum around not just what you do in your schools, if ICE agents come to your schools, but also how we can help protect the neighborhoods and the communities around our schools. There's a lot of options for how we do this and how you react if you see an ICE agent detaining someone. So, concretely coming up, the Chelsea Teachers Union has started doing safety walks in Chelsea. If you're interested in something similar, you can contact me or Emma. Emma's been developing a really awesome curriculum about sort of how you do this and how you support it. There's also going to be regular workshops led by the Unafraid Educators, which is a member committee of the Boston Teachers Union. They'll be doing some in person at the BTU and in schools. And they're actually, eventually will be doing a virtual workshop that's open to everyone, but that actually has been scheduled. Oh yeah, Tef will put it in the chat. So that first one of those is going to be November 6th on Zoom. You can email Wednesday from the BTU, and their email address is in the chat if you'd like to register for that. If you would also like to host something like that, contact Emma. And then we also work with and support this incredible community network called Luce, who does bystander trainings every week, every Wednesday. You can fill out the form here at Luce Mass to sign up and learn more. And then also they're hosting a specifically designed for educators. Emma's been talking with them and others. They're going to be on the 19th, going to be hosting at 6 p.m. a workshop for educators on at 6 p.m. and then you can could talk to Emma and register on the bit.ly link Luce October to register for that. All right. So the other sort of if you go to the next slide, the other strand of workshops we offer, and that many of you have been to, are the Mobilize, Organize, Vote, Empower, the MOVE trainings, which are sort of about the political moment we're in, understanding growing authoritarianism, but really focusing on what we can learn from history and how we can engage in a pro-democracy movement and the importance of labor being involved. So we sort of have a 101 that goes over all of that. And then we also have very specific trainings around how to safely learn about de-escalation training and being a protest peacekeeper or marshal at an action. We've got, how we can make sure we're prepared when we go to the different protests, and even just like mass mobilization training, practicing how we react to different situations at an action. We have many scheduled. So there's on Saturday, October 25th and Saturday, November 1st at the BTU at 10 a.m. We'll be we're offering workshops both generally on Move, and then we also may be partnering with Luce to do some specific trainings with them as well on those days. So just fill out the QR form if you're interested, and we'll talk to you about sort of content, et cetera, for those. That'll be at the Boston Teachers Union in Dorchester. We also have MOVE trainings coming up in Lowell with the United Teachers of Lowell. We're doing one with the Massachusetts Library Staff Association. We're doing one with the UMass Dartmouth Faculty Federation and the Southeast Mass Central Labor Council. Those are all coming up in the next basically month and a half. If you want to do one in your local, contact us, because we can sort of design one specifically for your local and come to you, do it in your community. We can even connect it to maybe other campaigns you're already a part of. So if you want to do a MOVE workshop, reach out to me, scan the QR code here. You can fill out the form, and we'll be continuing to roll these out. And then also, if you go to the next slide, we have coming up our fall conference. So I'll be doing a mass mobilization training at the fall conference, but also in general, this will be a chance to build skills, learn resources, learn about sort of our strategic plan as an organization. And that's going to be, I think Jessica mentioned it earlier as well, at Norfolk Aggie in Walpole. So heads towards Gillette Stadium, sort of. It's down that way. It's all day, and then you can stick around after. I'm on cider and donuts and cider donuts duty. So we'll be doing a little social where you can meet the guard llama that you can see in the flyer there, and go on a tour. Norfolk Aggie is a incredible place with a full working barn, and it's just a really neat agricultural school. So you can learn a lot about organizing. You can learn about our political moment. You can learn about mass mobilization, and sign up here. And just do want to note, it's going to be on Saturday, November 22nd. That's 1 week later than it was originally scheduled for. We already have a lot of RSVPs, which is fantastic. We'll be reaching out to all of you about the new Saturday for that. It's going to be pretty awesome. And you should sign up. Emma and Michaela and a whole group of incredible folks are really leading the planning for that. So that's great. And then the next slide is, I think, about really immediate things coming up. So we participate, we've been really helping to drive a lot of the incredible pro-democracy sort of resistance work that's been happening around the region. Jessica's really been a force in those spaces. And so there's some immediate ways that you can plug in, including No King's Day. Probably everybody's heard about the No Kings movement. And there's the next big day is Saturday coming up in 2 days. The national organizers think this is going to be the largest demonstrations in the history of the United States. And so come join us in one of these locations, Boston, Lowell, Chelmsford, and Falmouth. And we have noon as the time in Boston, but we are encouraging you, if you're coming to Boston, to meet up at the Embrace statue in the Common. A bunch of union folks, including AFT, are meeting up there to have like a labor meetup and labor contingent there at the rally. So I think Jessica's going to be speaking in Lowell and Chelmsford. And the we will be reaching out to you about sort of details on the Boston stuff. You can look for Brian LaPierre and the AFT Mass flag. It's going to be a powerful day, and this is the kind of work that is necessary, and I find very energizing around forging a path forward towards not just restoring our democracy, but creating a better place for everyone. So uh, we can do it, and we know the only way through these hard times is together. So, if you're coming to Boston, come at 11:30, meet up with our union siblings. You can see Lowell's at 2, Chelmsford at 3:30, Falmouth at noon. And I think that is. Oh yeah. And there's also a big town hall coming up as part of our uh, continued strategy to raise the revenue for the state of Massachusetts through taxing offshore accounts of corporations. We're part of a broad coalition to try to win this legislation, and the next big event for that is coming up in the North Shore in Lynn at the Labor Council on Wednesday, October 22nd. And contact Tefa. Oh, and the link is in there. You can just register right there. So, and save the date. These are tentative, but we got them on Jessica's schedule. And so January 14th, April 8th, June 10th, these are going to be quarterly, these town halls to uh, uh, check in with us, hear about what's happening, find out ways you can plug in.
Thanks so much, Jeremy.
All right.
Appreciate that. So at this point, we are going to take a pause and see if folks have any questions about all of the information that we shared. So again, we covered contract wins, we covered our local electoral and political work, the work at the State House, and all the resources that we have to support our locals, including upcoming actions and all the different things that AFT Mass has available for our locals as you're confronting many of the challenges that we're facing. So, it's everything we know from dealing with the usual issues like our facilities and needing the resources we need in our classrooms and staffing, but also new challenges. I know, for example, this morning there were ICE agents at a school, and that was causing an issue in one of our locals as well. So, and then of course we know about, if folks didn't hear, there was a 13-year-old that was detained in Everett, and now that student, the 13-year-old, is being held somewhere in Virginia. So these are definitely new challenges, but that's why we have all these resources, and that's why we're coming together on October 18th and through our trainings and workshops to meet the moment. Um, there are also a number of one question we did get in advance is, about what are some of the direct impacts from the federal government right now on our locals. And Tefa put it in the chat already, but maybe we can put it back in. AFTvotes.org has a lot of really good. Oh, it's already there. You guys are so great. This team is awesome. The AFT activist page, aftvotes.org, that has a lot of very specific information of how how it's happening and the policies that are being made or impounded in some cases where funding was distributed but then now taken back. Are impacting our students in schools. And President Weingarten will definitely talk more about that when she is able to join us for her section of the federal updates. But before we go to her, she is also heading right now to Oregon, where the nurses there are going on strike. And so she is about to land and will be joining us shortly. But again, wanted to pause here for any questions about anything we've covered so far. I did see in the Q&A, we will update the website in terms of the fall conference being on the 22nd. And, I'm just going to actually just share why we are moving it. it was originally on November 15th, but we recently this last week lost a giant in the labor movement. For those who don't know, Kent Wong, he is a trailblazer, particularly AAPI community, but is very, very well known, particularly also on the West Coast. He was the founder of the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance, was the founding president. He actually also was the founding president of the United Association of Labor Education, which is all the different labor centers, whether where he was at UCLA Labor Center for 30 years, and brought together labor centers from across the country, and was just an incredible labor activist. Also, his mentor was Jim Lawson. He, before he passed away, had just led this incredible 1,400 person training in Los Angeles after the National Guard and the escalation of mass deportation happened in Los Angeles. We actually just at the Teach conference that I know many of you have attended too had co-facilitated a workshop on supporting immigrant students, and we're working on a lot of projects together. And so it was, really heartbreaking and devastating for so many of us in labor movement who have gotten to work with him, known him. He was an AFT California vice president as well, and on the AAPI task force here in the national AFT too. And so his services are that Saturday, and Michaela Vu, who is actually the Paula National President on staff at AFT Mass, and one of the leads on our fall conference, really felt that we both really needed to be at his service, and so that was those are some of the reasons that we had to move it to the 22nd as well. But if you don't know who Kent Wong is, please, I urge you to Google him and learn about him. He really was a trailblazing leader for the labor movement, and a strong advocate, particularly for our undocumented students as well. Okay, questions? Any questions? I don't think oh, we do have one. Oh, okay. Oh, this is a good one. So how do we balance the understandable concerns about AI, from environmental impacts to the threat to job security, with the reality of operating in a world where AI is increasingly prevalent? So this is definitely a question that we should also ask Randi. Randi has definitely been leading in this area as well. But I want to also say that so is AFT, or not only AFT, but also the Mass AFL-CIO and the AFL-CIO itself. So just yesterday, actually, there was a hearing, and we were at the State House with President Schuler, who was actually there for the hearing as well, because we have been advocating for, and a number of us testified for the FAIR Act, which would address AI in the workforce. And it is actually seen as exemplary legislation in addressing exactly that question. Because the reality is, we cannot just put our heads in the sand and ignore AI. AI is here. It is being used everywhere. And we need to make sure that we're addressing everything. And that those exact issues came up. How do we hold AI companies and corporations accountable for when they're driving up energy usage, right? And then it drives up the prices of energy for regular everyday people at the same time. How do we also ensure that the climate impact of the energy usage as well is being addressed? And then we also get into the policy issues on regulation, on data privacy, and so much more. And so this legislation that we're trying to get passed at the State House, again, how the impacts of our workplace are connected to the policy and advocacy work we do. That is like a prime example. So the FAIR Act, again, is something we are trying to advocate for, and we can actually put more information about the FAIR Act as well. So I'm not sure who asked that question, but it is a very good one. And the other thing is just being knowledgeable about what AI is. So there's actually different forms of AI. There's generative AI, which is like, Chat GPT, etc. But we're also keeping our eyes on something called agentic AI. And that's more unknown. But we also do know that AI is replacing real people and real jobs, in addition to the security concerns. And so if we don't have regulations in place, that was something that the tech billionaires were trying to get passed in the I call it the big ugly bill, but the big bill that was passed is that they were trying to say there should be no laws that could be regulating AI. Luckily, that did not make it through the big ugly bill, but the fact that they were trying to get that in there says a lot about where the tech billionaires are thinking in terms of not wanting to be regulated at all. Okay. Let me see if there's other questions. Oh, just got the update too. Randy's plane has landed, and we're going to get an ETA any minute now. We're actually a little ahead of schedule. We went quicker than we thought we would. So she's not on the Zoom yet, but the plane just got to the gate, so she'll be joining us shortly. All right, great. So we have question 2 about the attacks on teachers for social media posts. What can we do as educators to protect ourselves? Should we? I know freedom of speech is important. I teach my students that, but I don't want to be persecuted for exercising my free speech online. That is another really great question. So unfortunately, we did have 2 teachers that were put on leave. So let me start with the good news. The good news is that most districts did the right thing. So when there were issues that were reported around social media, they handled it, we think, in an appropriate way. Sometimes that did involve, a reminder of the social media policy, etc. But there was an issue where in Peabody where 2 teachers were put on leave. One of those teachers, fortunately, chose to resign, and their family was getting harassed. They were getting like death threats and terrible things because it became very public, and they chose to resign, unfortunately, and they should never have been put in that situation in the first place. And the other case, we thought the district was going to do the right thing when it looked like they weren't. We rallied, and the Peabody Teachers Federation of Teachers really rallied too. And there was actually someone in the community who was really upset about what's happening, and decided to host a rally. And again, this is an example of why having those strong community partnerships with our parents and students and community allies is really important. They called for a rally within 24 hours. There was, I think, over 50 people there doing a standout. They were also organizing to have people testify at the next school committee hearing. And we were able to get that situation resolved, but it was important that we came together, the union, parents, community members, and rallied around this teacher. And free speech is important. And so, what authoritarians do oftentimes is try to use fear as the tactic to silence people, to silence dissent, to silence criticism, right? And for that reason, we have to keep speaking up. We have to keep making sure that when things are wrong, that we call it out and name it for what it is, and also show that that people are not alone. And we have to do it responsibly. So we did share guidance to all of our local leaders, but just some basic tips. 1, never post anything during school time. 2, make it very clear you're not posting anything as an official, representative of your district or your school or anything like that. In fact, you can take away those identifications. 2, of course, nonviolent language, and none of the people, by the way, that in Peabody used any kind of calls for violence or anything of like that nature, no profanity or anything like that. So of course, you do still have to have professionalism in your posts. And but And you know, there is something called the Pickering test, and so if you're posting as a private citizen of something of public concern, then and it's not during your school time, etc., then those are some of, you know, the basic pieces of advice in terms of free speech. But what we say is, you know, like, especially when you're dealing with authoritarianism, you do not want to comply in advance, meaning you don't want to silence yourself in advance. And so it is important, as people who care about our communities, to speak up when you see wrong. I mean, it's what we teach our students, right, too, and protect our freedom of speech and stand up for freedom of speech as well. Um, Brant also shared something in the chat, focus on AI. AFT Center for School Improvement is in collaboration with the new AFT National Academy for AI, is going to be having a institute on AI from January 22nd through 24th in New York City. So that's another great resource. And AFT offers a lot of great resources around AI, and we have been, again, having a lot of conversations around free speech too. So Randi has landed. She is finding a quiet spot, and she is going to be joining us in just a couple minutes. And that gives me time, I think, to answer at least one more question before she joins us. And she's going to share a lot of really important updates. Again, what's happening with the government shutdown, what's happening in the areas of our legal battles, what the impact is of the shutdown, things that are in the big, beautiful, or ugly bill, and and it also can answer, I'm sure, elaborate on a lot of these questions as well. All right, so the next question is, the Trump administration is blatantly attacking higher ed. What are we doing to fight back and protect our members? For those of you who are not following, this is another really good question. We actually at AFT Mass proudly represent over 4,300 educators and workers and staff in higher education institutions in Massachusetts, including AUP and including places like at Harvard. Actually, Harvard AUP is an affiliate of the AFT as well. And there recently was a compact where they were asking 9 universities to say that they, you know, would do certain things and have certain oversight in order to get funding from the federal government. It's been described as extortion. MIT recently said no, they would not agree to the compact. Brown most recently also said no, that they would not. And then now they've opened it up to other higher ed institutions. We already know that in Massachusetts, so many higher ed institutions, particularly our research institutions, have lost millions, if not billions of dollars of funding. And actually, the meeting I was in right before our town hall was convened by the governor, where she has been bringing together higher ed leaders and labor and also life sciences organizations and companies that all see the threat that all of this funding is being lost. It's literally life-saving research. We are hearing so many stories about life-saving research that has stopped as a result of the funding being taken away from higher ed research institutions in particular. But it's not just the STEM research that's being cut. It's also in the social sciences as well. It's not just NIH. It's also National Endowment of Humanities, NEH, and other funding sources that have been cut too. And that is resulting in not just research getting cut, but of course jobs getting cut. And higher ed is definitely facing the brunt of a lot of the attacks right now. Again, that is actually part of the playbook of authoritarianism, and as well as the federal government workers. Again, biggest anti-union action ever taken was taking away collective bargaining for over 1 million federal workers. And so AFT has been working really hard with AUP. AUP is a part of is a part of the AFT, and the president is Todd Wolfson, and he and President Weingarten actually just recently launched a really big higher ed campaign. And so that's also now in the chat, so you can learn more about the resources to support our affiliates in higher ed and the higher ed campaign itself. Okay, I do believe that, hold on, getting an update right now. Okay, she is logging in, so she's almost there. But so the Drive Act is one way that we're trying to fight back and support the higher ed institutions here in Massachusetts. And by the way, it's everybody. It's community colleges to private universities to research institutions and public higher ed that's being harmed, including UMass Dartmouth, where we represent a lot. We have 3 units there at UMass Dartmouth. And so that is very definitely top of mind of what we do to support higher ed right now. And again, why we need folks to come out on October 18th. You know, a little preview for the MOVE workshops that Jeremy mentioned is, you know, we go over, you know, what is authoritarianism? What are we facing? We go over what is democracy and how do we, you know, make it better? And we also talk about the importance of labor. And so there's some pretty jarring statistics that, you know, right now in the last 30 years of research, it's about 52% of countries with a civil, you know, resistance movement are able to win back their democracy and U-turn and make it stronger. But without labor in the civil resistance movement, it's about 27%. But when labor is leading the resistance movement, then actually the percentage goes up to 83% success rate in being able to turn back authoritarianism and make our democracy stronger. So that is a lot of the work we're doing also is in partnership with other labor's unions and the Mass AFL-CIO, and then of course across the nation, really trying to get labor more engaged in the work of fighting for a better country that actually serves working people and where people are able to have their basic needs met and actually thrive. And at this point, I'm really happy to see that Randi Weingarten has joined us at the airport, and we're so appreciative of her taking the time to join us, especially as she's headed to a strike line, and eager to hear updates from the federal government. But I will just say we are really, really, really lucky at the AFT to have a leader that has been so courageous and has had such clear vision of what is needed and has risen to the moment. And if we had 20 Randys in our country, I think we'd be in a much better place. But we are lucky that at least we have Randi leading our union.
Thank you, Jessica. Can you hear me? I just got off a
Yes,
plane,
we
so I'm
can hear
still
you.
in the middle of this. So disappearing people, indicting your enemies, putting the military on the streets of states to try to intimidate the hell out of people. That's authoritarianism. We're in it. And so what happens and what we know is, frankly, it's we the people that are the last, it's the last way of fighting it. And that's why No Kings become so important. It is a peaceful, nonviolent march, just like June was, or protest, just like Hands Off was. This is the third big one that we've been really involved in. And SEIU and AFT are basically leading the labor part of the charge. Jessica has been hugely the foundation of a lot of what we're doing in terms of democracy. But our union, your national union, this has been who we've been since World War II. This is who we have been about, fighting for democracy here and abroad. We know what we were there for Solidarność. We were there for Hungary. We were there for Czechoslovakia. We have to be there for ourselves. And at the end of the day, that's the moment we're in. And they're going to smear us, and they're going to try to divide us, and they're going to try to say, oh no, that's not. And that's why you're seeing them like the press secretary for the president of the United States calling us all terrorists, because we want to have a voice not only at work but in our democracy, because we want to make sure that things that we need, our members need, our schools need, our children need, freedom, funding, that makes us American citizens who believe, like the founders did 249 years ago, that the freedom of speech, the freedom of to walk and to peacefully assemble and to be safe. That we America, from the Declaration of Independence on, we made a pact with each other that we would fight ever having a dictator or king. So, my friends, that's where we are.
I feel like that's a mic drop right here. Yeah, and for those who haven't seen the book, Why Fascists Fear Teachers, that Randi just wrote, by the way, special plug, if you come to our fall conference, you might receive a copy of it. But I have actually been listening to it as an audiobook. I got it as an audiobook, and for those who are trying to make sense of our moment right now and knowing that, something feels wrong, things feel off, um, things aren't normal. Randi does a really good job in that book of kind of breaking down how it happens and why, and particularly why educators and higher ed are being targeted. And 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 also, though, there's a hopeful message of what we can do together to fight back, and that there is hope. And whether it was in Hungary or South Korea more recently, educators have played a really, really important role in preserving our democracy and fighting for our democracy and making it better because it wasn't working for everyone in the first place. So we are at time, but are there any other maybe last questions um, for Randi before we
Mhm.
end our town hall? And again, really appreciate you taking the time. And we do hope we have a tentative date. I'm not going to share it yet because we haven't pinned it down yet, but we do have a tentative date actually where President Weingarten will be joining us for
Randi.
where Randi's going to be joining us for a book talk here
Yeah.
in Massachusetts. So we'll obviously let everyone know when
Mhm.
and where that will happen. But
And Jess, do you want to? I mean, one of the reasons we did that resolution today at the, I'm sure you shared it already,
I did
but
not actually. I did not.
but we wanted to also, because we have an obligation to our membership who are watching. A lot of our members watch Fox and Newsmax, and they're calling us all these names. We have an obligation to actually share why we're doing what we're doing and why we think this is that five alarm fire moment. So we tried to do that today so that people had it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And no, I don't apologize at all. Yeah, so there were two resolutions that actually I might have been more than two resolutions that were passed today at the exec council. And one of them was just essentially, again, please, jump in here, but reaffirming what we're about as a union and that we are a labor union. We're fighting for economic justice and for everyone to be able to do the things that I think we all thought that if you have a job where you're respected, that you would then be able to access, healthcare and have access to affordable home, groceries, and we need to be doing everything we can to bring down the cost of just living right now, and how that goes hand in hand again with the democracy work and doubling down on the organizing work that we need to do and that political education also of connecting the dots and the mass mobilization that's ultimately needed in this moment too. So, and thank you again for your leadership. I really don't know what America could be like right now, actually. I mean that 100% without you pushing so hard in so many places and sharing the leadership and the vision that
Thank you, my friend. And back at you.
yeah, we will hopefully see you on Saturday. Again, there's going to be folks in Plymouth, Lowell, Chelmsford, Boston, of course, and but you can find one that's closer to you if that's more convenient. But we really got to be in the streets on Saturday, and then whether it's in the courts, our state house, we're everywhere, and we've got to do it. We're going to meet the moment. We're going to rise to the occasion. So thanks, everybody.